So this is what I would kind of refer to as my Degenerate Shigeki deck. It is a full control style deck, and our goal is that we have Shigeki, Jukai Visionary, and the Colossal Skyturtle combo. If you're not familiar with it, you end up discarding Shigeki to get X non-legendary cards from your graveyard back to your hand, and then you can use the Skyturtle to get back Shigeki, and you can loop them between each other. So, to take advantage of our Shigeki plan, we are just going with the idea of trying to keep our opponent off the board as much as we can, so we use Farewell to exile all the creatures, enchantments, artifacts, and in some cases, even maybe the graveyard. We use our graveyard ourselves, but sometimes we need to just take away our opponent's graveyard. We have the Depopulates to also just destroy all the creatures. We have a couple spot removal options in the form of Fateful Absence, some Runic Shots to try it out. I figure 1 mana just destroy tap creature probably isn't that bad. We can always kick it to scry too. We have some Fading Hopes, March of the Otherworldly Light, Syncopates, and some Make Disappears. Now, to try to make this that way we can go a little bit faster, I'm trying out Joint Exploration for a form of scry draw, but the ability to put lands into play may accelerate the mana base to help us out, considering how expensive our late game payoffs are. And in this deck, we're going to try out the Sphinx of Clear Skies as our main threat for beating our opponents. How this card works is that whenever we deal combat damage to a player, we reveal the top X cards. We split them into 2 piles. Our opponent splits them into 2 piles for us, and we get to choose one to keep. Now, the piles work based off the top cards we reveal is equal to the number of different land types we have in play. And I am keeping this just straight white, blue, green, so we'll only ever give the opponent 3 cards to play with for assigning to a pile. So we'll see a pile of 2 and a pile of 1, and we get to choose which one we add to our hand. The rest go to the graveyard. And this isn't bad for us because, like I mentioned, we have the Shigeki and the Skyturtle plan to get cards back for value. We have a little Bankbuster action for some card draw, as well as some Deluge. And we also have a Hullbreaker Horror and Wandering Emperor as ways to interact during our opponent's turn to generate threats as well. We'll try out the deck and see how it works. Oh, by the way, we are going to take this in the best 3, and I have some extra counterspell options as a form of Spell Pierce. We have a Pithing Needle because this shuts off early Liliana plays or any other Planeswalkers. A Circle of Confinement to be early interaction against aggro decks. Some Destroy Evils in case we destroy enchantments, but as well as large creatures. A Malevolent Hermit because it is good for playing against control decks, because not only can we use it to sacrifice to mana spike something for 3, but we do have the ability to bring this back to the board and make it so that way our spells can't be countered. We have some Unlicensed Hearses in the deck to make sure we can eat away at Grave Recursion decks. Some Temporary Lockdowns as ways to fight low-cost or token-style decks. We have some Dissipate for some hard counterspells, and 1 Jin Cataxis. It'll be interesting to see how well the sideboard works for the best of 3 here, and let's jump into the games. I just realized it's getting a little dark in here, so give me 1 second while I hit the light here. There we go. Hope everyone's doing well and enjoying themselves. Alright. So, we get to take the play. Hullbreaker Horror in the opening is not very good, but we do have a lot of early interaction. I think we can keep this. We'll leave it the headquarters, make sure we have all the mana types. Then we can go for the hideout, because this will come into play untapped on turn 3 regardless. Get ourselves a blue source here. Seems we're possibly against a control matchup. The fact that we hit both Hullbreaker Horrors feels bad here. Especially once when we miss on lands. Oh my gosh, how do I do it? We'll go ahead and discard the Runic Shot here. I just kind of want to know what our opponent's plans are. I'm just going to actually scoop it up here. We hit no lands, opponent's got a Wandering Emperor. We could have removed it, but I think we're just better off just moving on to the next game here, since we do play a best-of-3 scenario. Alright. We'll bring all of these in. We will go down the Runic Shots, because I don't think it's going to be useful against this opponent. We'll go down one Make Disappear. Go down one Depopulate. Let's see. Problem with this card is if I name Wandering Emperor, it also affects us too. So it's good for us, but it's a double-edged sword in this matchup. No, let's go ahead and actually not use it, I guess. I think, like, what's the last card we trim here? Let's go down to Joint Exploration, I suppose. We'll try it like that. Okay, so we're going to start with 3 lands again. Hopefully, we don't get stuck on the lands. I have this weird situation whenever I'm playing the game, though, lately. I either get stuck at 3 lands, or I draw a ridiculous amount of lands. I don't really get much in between on my draws. Let's see what happens this time. We'll attempt the Hermit. Okay, opponent's turn. I wasn't sure if the Hermit would resolve because they had the 2 mana open. They could have had to Make Disappear. Am I okay with them having the Celestis? Actually, I think I will just go ahead and counter the Celestis. Because I am so great at drawing lands. Just the best. Alright, it looks like hitting the opponent on the mana base there was a good move. Alright, they can have the Impulse. More than likely they went and got themselves a land with it. Let's see, let's syncopate that X1. We'll go for our Sphinx of Clear Skies. Thanks to the Ward 2, we don't have to worry about too many spells being able to directly interact with it. But with their 4 mana, they could go with the Destroy Target Creature or Planeswalker. We get a Clue token. Cameo. Okay. I'm not sure if that was a good move for them because they don't have anything in their graveyard other than Celestis. So I guess they are going to go for that. Let's bring back the Hermit as the Geist. Now our spells can't be counterspelled. Alright, We'll just take the one that has the 2 lands. Pass it to the opponent. Counterspell. And they can't counterspell us because of the Geist. We'll go for Gitaxis, and yeah, opponent has scooped it up here. Oh boy, Shuffler is not being kind to me today. We have to hit Mulligan one more time, I think. Well, we could risk it on the Shigeki. And we can put Gitaxis to the bottom. I'm worried that, like, going down too many cards, we put ourselves too far behind against our opponent. Alright, Shigeki to board. It's a little worrying putting Shigekis aboard because they may be running March of Otherworldly Light themselves. Alright, they go for the draw right away, meaning they may have missed land drops. We just pass. This way we have access to Counterspell Magic as well as using Shigeki. Looks like the opponent was just simply thinking about using Bankbuster for draw. Okay, so they flash in Wandering Emperor right now.
I'm home. May your blade strike true.
Go ahead and get the blue-green source. And we will go ahead and just march the Emperor. Oh wait, no, I can't march Emperor. I forget. March only hits creatures and artifacts. Let's see, what's the best play here then? I'm betting they use the plus here to affect the token. Might be best to March, get rid of Buster, but first go with Shigeki back to the board. Going Shigeki to board means that we can use it to give us the more ramp. We have the Syncopate to protect it.
Show them how we greet our enemies.
No blocks. I'd rather the opponent does not have Tamiyo, because the +1 taps a creature and can keep it tapped. It also chains really well with Wandering Emperor. Let's see here. But go land untapped. We can use Shigeki, potentially flash in Wandering Emperor. And then next turn, use March or Skyturtle, deal with the token, maybe attack and deal with the Emperor. I think that's a doable play. So we'll just land pass. We're going to block with Shigeki, activate. Making sure to manually tap it because I don't want Shuffler, or not Shuffler, but Auto Tapper to do something weird where it taps my double white sources. Okay, so we take no damage. Alright, run in 7 for our opponent.
We prefer not to fight, but we also will not hold back.
They go for the plus. That's interesting. Wandering Emperor to board.
I'm not overconfident. You're just underwhelming. Guards, to me!
Hideout. Get ourselves a white source. Use the turtle, get rid of the token. This way we can use March, get rid of Bankbuster after it gets crewed. Go for the plus, and we are going to attack
We've got the edge
the
in this
Emperor.
fight.
This way the Emperor can't generate a token without destroying itself. Let's see, with Shigeki we can do X1, 2, 3, so we can get back 3 cards from our graveyard. Means we can get like March, we can get Fateful Absence and Skyturtle. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so they continue to plus Ren. It is a -8 for Ren. So, if we set up for using Shigeki to get back the cards I said, we can use the Fateful Absence to get rid of Ren.
Show them how we greet our enemies.
Alright, so minus here.
Let your blade do the talking.
May just be better for us to flash in Hullbreaker Horror and hold up Spell Pierce. We'll see what the opponent does, and make our decision after that.
We blossom and thrive.
Yeah, all these lands go to the battlefield tapped. Was it really worth using the 0 just to get an extra land to the battlefield? Because they didn't play their land for the turn, so these both just came into play tapped.
To me.
Okay, they draw. I'm worried that the opponent might have their own absence, so we're not going to go for Horror. We'll instead go for the 3 plan. Grab Skyturtle, grab March, grab Absence. Okay, so we will plus here.
Strike fast and strike hard.
March X0. Actually, better idea. Let's go ahead and actually attack. Force them to use up the token.
Back to to wandering.
Okay, because they didn't use up the token means that they have replacement Wanderer probably in hand.
Rich soil grows mighty forests. Power grows with tender care.
Due to the fact that we have March of Otherworldly Light and Faithful Absence plus Spell Pierce, what we can do is we can actually do Horror, do an X0, get the target on the token, be able to use Horror's ability to bounce, put Ren and 7 back in their hand. And if they have a Destroy spell, we can actually just Spell Pierce the spell, and just put Hullbreaker back in our hand if they can pay for it. Oh, they have a Hullbreaker of their own. Okay. Well, in that case, let's go for our Hullbreaker. See how they respond. Alright, they cash in the draw right now. That might mean that their Hullbreaker might be vulnerable to removal. Because they only have one mana source available to them. Trying to think, how do we do this? Let's go X0. Get rid of this. Bounce trigger. Get rid of this. Discards a couple cards. Go for the plus. Go to combat.
Got the edge in this fight.
Attack to get rid of red. I'm trying to see if they have like a 1 blue interaction here to like bounce. I'm trying to get them to use it so that way we can get rid of one of these two threats here. Alright, they take the block. We get to destroy now, so I can get rid of Ren. We'll return the treasure just to get rid of the mana source. And pass it back. So if they do actually go for like a sweeper, we can Spell Pierce, bounce the Horror. Yep. So Spell Pierce that. Return non-land permanent to owner's hand. Okay, Wandering Emperor for the opponent.
You started this fight, but I'm going to end it.
Discard. I think we break up the Shigeki loop here. Get ourselves a March. 1, 2. Get rid of Bankbuster. Return Horror. So the opponent chose not to pay the 2 for the destroy all creatures because they had a clue token left. And since they didn't play that land for the turn, they didn't have the mana for it. So now we can attack and get rid of their Emperor, and just kind of control this board here.
Strike fast and strike hard.
I decided to go for the plus instead of the minus because I figured the opponent's got more board wipe options. Just gonna play around them. We don't want to bring the horror back to the board without having some kind of spell to protect it. So at the moment, we're just looking for either another Skyturtle or Shigeki, so that way we can just loop our graveyard.
Harm the trees, and you will rot at their base. The entire forest is an
Okay.
army.
Alright, Fading Hope is actually really good for us. Go for the token. Pass it back to the opponent.
Your blades strike true.
We might actually get a mill out on the opponent just because of how much Renin 7 churns through their deck to do the plus.
Magic pulses beneath our feet.
Alright, Titan doesn't really do too much for our opponent. We'll put horror to the board. I'm going to risk it getting hit by a removal spell. So that way we can use the Fading Hope to get rid of both tokens. Alright, put impulses here. I can't think of anything that they can do to prevent us from bouncing these. I think we're going to put Spell Pierce on the bottom. It does serve as a spell that allows us to protect our cards here, but...
Remember your training.
Alright. Send these both over to the Wandering, or to Renin 7. I'm not attacking with Hullbreaker Horror, because I think our opponent still has Wandering Emperors in their decks.
We'll be overrun.
Because we've only been through 2 of them. And since we know they also run Tameo, there's a chance that they could also just use Tameo to resurrect one of their Wandering Emperors. Alright, another Titan for our opponent. Alright, we got Shigeki. That's actually really amazing. Let's just go for a counter here.
I have got new moves to teach
And
you.
pass it back to the opponent. I make sure that we make our Horror an 8-9. That way we can block Titan of Industry and not worry about a Wandering Emperor coming in, doing the +1/+1. So that way it actually kill our Horror. See, what cards do we have that we can bring back that are going to be important? Really just March, Absence, Fading Hope, and Skyturtle. Alright, Teferi for our opponent.
I could explain what I'm about to do, but I'd rather show than tell.
They do the minus, which means that they don't have Emperor. Because if they had the Emperor, they more than likely would have used it for the plus tap down our Horror. And then bring out Emperor right away. Okay, we are sort of okay with that. But let's see here. How much can we Shigeki here? One, 2, 3, 4. Actually, we can do X4. Still have a mana left over. So let's make sure we tap this how we really want to. Want to make sure a blue source is left open. Because we're going to keep the Fading Hope. Actually, keep the Spell Pierce. And there we go, these 4. Spell Pierce. And we will return non-land perm to owner's hand. Get rid of this token. With March, we can actually just straight up exile a Titan. Go ahead and block.
We've got the edge in this fight.
Get rid of the Teferi, go for the face.
Suppose that's how it was meant to happen.
And let's see. Pass it to the opponent. Just want to see what they do at this point. Alright, in that case, let's destroy this. Return spell. Well, it's only got 17 cards left in their deck. Let that resolve this time.
You want to be a great time mage? Put in the hours. Oh, our next few moments will be exciting.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 2 mana left over. We just take the hit. And we just make it so that way the opponent can't use their board wipe. Because we just march off the Teferi or even the token. And we have lethal to the face. Upon sticking it over, they've looks like they're saying that they're going to attack, but they haven't passed it to the next step here. So they might be thinking about not attacking. Kind of give them an emote just to say, hey, we're kind of waiting on you. Now, I know that the opponent possibly has a lot to take in, considering the board state. We have all of our mana available. We're already representing a lethal amount to the face. This could just be Assault Scoop, where they know that they've committed an attack and they may have made something they can't, like, back out of it. And realized after the attack declaration that they're kind of hosed. And since we get a Skyturtle, we can always just discard this and actually get ourselves our counter spells. if we need to. Opponent. Are you actually... They could, like I said though, they could be legitimately thinking in the tank here. I'm trying to think, like, what is it that they could have drawn, considering we've seen most of their deck. That might be an issue. And I'm coming up short on what they could possibly do to interact at this point. Because they are a Super Friend style deck with Wandering Emperor, Ren, Teferi, Tamio. And at this point, none of the Planeswalkers save them. And yeah, this is a Salt Scoop. Well, and we'll just go ahead and start getting the GGs right now because they're just burning timer just to be annoying. If they were legitimately thinking of strategies here, you've probably seen like cards highlight because they're like going over what they could do. Yep, and there's the scoop. There we go. Alright, so we get to really take the play. I think I like this. It's a little slow moving, but we get to start with the Emperor, we have a Memory Deluge, we have all the mana fixing. Go ahead and lead with the headquarters. Ooh, we're against potentially something fast here. Lately, if it's got a Voldaren Epicure, though, it's either mono red or black red's sacrifice of some kind. Okay. Joint Exploration does give us the ability to ramp, as well as get a little card draw. It's effectively a more expensive growth spiral. Alright, Stormseeker for our opponent. Now we'll just go ahead and do this right now. That way we don't hold them up on action time. Let's see here. I don't think I want either of these. Because I'm playing Wandering Emperor to exile Stormseeker. I know we're going to lose Wandering Emperor for that, but we can't let that switch tonight as it's too strong of a card. Put that to the board. Let's go for the Emperor right now.
I'm not overconfident.
Because if I let it go tonight, and I try to go with the idea, I can, you know, flash it in, get rid of one of the cards. Any creature that they bring down would be able to get haste and still potentially push in more damage anyways. So I just wanted to be safer about it. I will go land pass here. We have some counterspell action. Alright, they're going for the burn the face. Yeah, no, we do not want to let you have that. That'll land. They are probably going to kick themselves for not playing it first. Alright, let's go ahead and actually go with the Memory Deluge here. Clear Skies and Wandering Emperor, I feel, are better grabs. Go for Clear Skies right now. And we'll also play Joint Exploration. While we do tap out, we force it back to the day, so that way if they have any more of these Stormseekers, they're not going to potentially come in for 5 damage. I'll take a Bank Buster. It being a 5/5 with Ward 2 actually makes it very hard for our opponent to burn it off. And it's enough to make them scoot. Alright, we didn't see a whole lot from their deck. We only really got to see 2 Stormseekers, 1 Play with Fire, and a Epicure. So I think we'll still go with Circle of Confinements. I think that's all we really bring in here. I might want to try out a Temporary Lockdown, but I don't think that they have as many low-cost cards as I'd really want to use this on. So, let's see. What do we do to balance out to fight them? I think we'll actually take out a Farewell. Exile is not as necessary against Mono Red. Runic Shot actually I feel like will be useful here. Let's go down 1 Hullbreaker. And that should do it. Against Mono Red, I don't want to potentially draw multiple Hullbreakers because it usually just gets jammed in our hand and we can't play it. So I'll take us potentially longer to draw into our win con, but the important thing is being able to survive the early turns against Mono Red. Alright, none of the early interaction, but we have the mana to say we could keep this. But they're on the play, so I don't think we keep it. We hit Mulligan. This is a much better hand. We keep this, we put Breaker on the bottom. We do actually have the fetch lands to shuffle, so there's a chance for us to get the Breaker back. Opponent gets the Kakazan, but no turn 2 play. That's going to be very advantageous to us. Stormseeker again. We're going to go ahead and Fading Hope the Kumano. I'll keep the Depopulate. Go ahead and kick a Runic Shot. Farewell to the bottom, Bankbuster to the bottom. Bankbuster's great for the draw, but I feel like we're going to need our turn 4 play to play Emperor. Okay, we'll go for the land. We pass it back. If the opponent doesn't say anything we have to use Emperor against, we'll just Deluge. This is one of the reasons why Fable's so great in Mono Red still. They gotta be able to discard all these extra lands so that way they can try to keep finding their pressure. Alright, Cemetery Gatekeeper. Alright. Enters the battlefield, it gets the target. We're gonna Memory Deluge after they choose their target. Oh, I guess it didn't let me do it how I wanted to. Oh well. We'll Deluge now then, I guess. Circle of Confinement's actually really good here, and I think we can actually take Shigeki. Because we can Circle, get rid of the use of Circle. Exile Gatekeeper. This means if they bring any new Gatekeepers to the board, we're going to gain life. Get ourselves a blue source off this. Bring Shigeki to the board. Shigeki just is going to be a blocker for us. Okay, so adversary, they don't have enough to kick it. Alright, lots of damage coming in. We get to block. Another Gatekeeper, but we gain the life. We only currently have instants in our graveyard, so the depopulate's not going to get affected. We go land, we use Shigeki for its ability. We managed to hit a land here. Sadly, we milled some good cards that we can't bring back in the form of Wandering Emperor, but we can bring the others back. We hit him with the depopulate. They're going to burn down the tokens. It's actually a good plan for the opponent. So let's see, how do we survive this? We can bring down Shigeki. That serves as a block. We can use Wandering Emperor for the flash in minus. And I think that's our best play. Alright, Pyre to kill Shigeki. We'll let it go. Well, I could have potentially flashed in the Wandering Emperor to plus to save it. I don't think that was the right play. They are representing lethal here, but it looks like they're going to go Kiki-Jiki clone to play it safe. Alright, so... Alright, flash this in first before damage.
Feel the energy of battle,
We exile a token.
then guide it like water.
Because I'm worried the opponent might have a
Judgment is fun.
spell to just do some damage and finish us off here. Unfortunately...
I guess that's that.
We hit more lands. Somehow I hit so many lands here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got through 11 of our lands. So we've drawn more lands than we have non-lands. And that is game. So even when I tried to play to save as much life as we could, unfortunately, we just flooded hard. Try to think if we maybe bring a Spell Pierce against this opponent. Probably not a bad idea. We'll actually take the Syncopate out. And we will go with... one less Shigeki. Try it like that. Alright, take the play. It seems like a pretty good hand. We'll keep it. We'll lead with this. Gonna go ahead and go for the hideout for white. We'll use the Fading Hope to protect us here. Put that back in hand. Slow them down a little bit. That's way too early to draw that. Or is it? Yeah, it's a little too early to draw it. Let's put that on the bottom. Go for headquarters. Hold up the absence. Alright, we got the Spell Pierce, which is nice. They're just gonna land pass, huh? Alright, we're not gonna bring Emperor to the board because I didn't have that 5th mana to protect it with Spell Pierce. And without them playing anything to the board, it means that Spell Pierce probably might not work against their burn spells. Funny enough, they actually played around Spell Pierce by accident. But they could have been actually trying to play around make disappear.
Fight me as hard as you can, 'cause I'm real stubborn. Aw, you're looking a little...
Okay. We'll attempt the Wandering Emperor here. Try to go for the -1.
My people must contend with me. Guards, to me.
Counter the Pyre. Confine the Epic here. Go for another 2/2 token.
Keep watch for
Hit
it,
Chandra.
Can't douse these flames.
I decided to go down on the Emperor instead of going for the plus in case they had another
You're lucky this is a warning shot.
burn spell. I know that it dies to the Chandra's ability, but I still feel like that was probably the better option we had available to us. Alright, let's go ahead and burn this off. Or, I mean, not burn it off, but kill it with the absence. Get rid of Dress to Kill. They more than likely have like some kind of shock or something, but if they did, they would have actually used it there.
No,
They had to stop because they could technically use the blood there. Okay, so they can kick that for 3. Allows them to play one of their burn spells. They go for the Pyre. Trying to figure out, do I march this right now? And I think yes is the answer. Keep the opponent off the board with their aggressive creatures. We actually gain a point of life off this. It's technically a gain 2, but we lose 1, that's why I say just a life. We'll go in for the attack. Because we have the Vigilance. And we'll just pass it to them. With the Joint Exploration, we'll go ahead and just kick it, more than likely. Okay, so we get a Wandering Emperor coming up. Just going to go ahead and put this onto the board for us.
This little candle's gonna set your world on. Come on, Chandra. Think of something good.
Okay, I'm trying to think, what do we do here? Let's go ahead and try to attack the Chandra, see what the opponent does. Oh, did my music stop? Alright, there it goes. It's gone back again. Alright, so they go for the block. I'm gonna flash in Emperor. And we're gonna give this the +1/+1 counter.
This fight. But I'm going to. Remember your training.
Alright, so they're gonna uptick to deal point of damage. Unfortunately, that means that they have a 3 damage spell. They get rid of it. The devil tokens are effectively a 3 damage spell here. We'll still block to kill one. They're gonna redirect the damage to finish off the Emperor, more than likely. Alright.
I'm not
That's a problem.
I guess that's that.
Alright, Shigeki can allow us to get 2 cards back. We can use that. We can get back March. And we can also get back... We can't get back Emperor because it's legendary. I think we'll determine what the other card is at the end of the turn. Our next turn plan is just to depopulate.
Watch me heat up the dance floor.
Alright. 1, 2... March. I think it has to be Fateful Absence. Funny enough, I think our opponent's actually gone through more of their deck because of the extra draw we've been giving them, and we haven't hit any of our draw value ourselves. I think we may just take Broker's Hideout. Dex thins us, gives a point of life. It gives us the mana that we hit the top end of our deck, we can play anything. Doesn't sound like a bad idea, but we can also just grab Joint Exploration, kind of be able to play that the same turn as Depopulate. I think I like that plan better. Let's go for that. Alright. Hit him with the Depop. Since we drew Bank Buster, I'm actually going to go for playing Bank Buster to board. We're going to use March to get rid of Chandra next turn, unless they do something amazing that makes it that way I don't want to prevent them from this emblem.
Up to a simmer.
But if they get that emblem, we're more than likely going to die, so we get rid of the Chandra. We are still in a very precarious life total. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Submit 0. Oh, that's right, I can't get rid of Chandra with March. I'm punting hard. That's why I had to get myself Fateful Absence. I don't know why I keep doing that with this card. It's because it answers multiple things. I keep thinking it can hit Planeswalkers too. Alright, let's go ahead and joint. No kick. We need something other than these. That wasn't what we were looking for. Let's Buster draw. So Skyturtle would allow us to get the card we need. But we wouldn't be able to cast it this turn. Let's pass it to the opponent at this point, because if I could, I would just use this to return Chandra, but it only returns creatures.
Just when I was having a good time.
Oh, jeez. The opponent hits so well off that. Yeah, that's a...
Brace yourself.
That's a good game situation. I punted, and I punted super hard. I had the ability to get Fateful Absence, and I didn't grab it. We're just going to go ahead and let the opponent just finish us off here. Alright, yeah. I really need to quit thinking this card allows me to get rid of Planeswalkers. I don't know why I think it does, because it gets rid of artifact, creature, and enchantments as target options. For some reason, I keep thinking, oh yeah, I can get rid of Planeswalkers. It's the whole reason I have Fateful Absence in the deck, is so I can get rid of Planeswalkers. Okay, this actually seems like a pretty good hand to keep. Got spot removal, we got counterspell, we got depopulate. So we have the answers for most deck types. See here. Alright, we're against mono black. Since they have the play, it means that I go for the forest. Well, I mean, I go for the forest regardless, but it means that I'm holding up Syncopate to play around them going for Liliana, because I don't want them just constantly upticking, destroying our hand here. And if they ever do get the ultimate off, it is painful. But that's also another card I don't want the opponent to have. That eats our graveyard. We don't want to let the opponent eat our graveyard. Alright, land and pass. They try to level up Evolve Sleeper. We're just going to march it and not take the damage. Because they'll more than likely eat up the opponent's turn. Okay. This is a fine target to march, just because it can recur itself from the graveyard. And it gives the opponent draw value as well, so all the reason to make sure they don't get to keep that. We'll go ahead and bring out the Bank Buster, start getting our card draw value from it. As I don't feel like we're going to hit them with the Depopulate this turn. Alright, another underdog for the opponent. They seem to be stuck on 3 lands. Okay, so go to combat. We'll take the 2. One great thing about having Bank Buster out is it always gives us priority during our opponent's turn whenever they do something, so we can bluff Counterspell Magic. And now we don't have to bluff Counterspell Magic, we just straight up have it. I think we still have to hit him with the Depopulate this turn, unfortunately. The amount of damage that they're representing is at least 6. And it'll start bringing us to a life total that I don't feel comfortable going down to. Hopefully later on we can get something that allows us to exile that from their graveyard. Alright, there's Shouldred. I was a little worried about them getting that. But we'll straight up depopulate right away. Cannot let the opponent keep a Shouldred. Unfortunately, the opponent's now at 5 mana, which means that we have to worry about taking Invoke hits. But we'll just pass it back, holding up Bankbuster and Emperor. I'm a little surprised they didn't try to blitz the underdog that turn. They had the life total. They could have afforded to pay for it. Alright, there's the blitz now. Opponents, would you like to attack, or are you just going to hold it back there and just turn it into card draw? Because that is a option for you. Alright, Emperor to board. Alright, get the exile. Now, the thing is, they actually could choose to, like, use a cut down on their own creature. So it keeps it in the graveyard. They get the ability to get the card draw off of it. Or an Infernal Grasp, since it's, 2 mana available. And if they actually do kill the underdog to their own effects, I think what we end up doing is we just minus the Wandering Emperor on our turn, except that it's just going to turn into a 2/2, because it can just blitz and kill the Emperor. Yeah, so they are going to Infernal Grasp their own underdog. Going to start off this turn with the draw first. Okay. Another Emperor for us.
We must protect the people.
Get ourselves a blue source, since we already have enough white and green. Alright, underdog coming out again. We'll go for the Emperor plan once more.
To lose.
Alright, they grasp their own creature once more. It is hurting them quite a bit to do that. It does also stop us from gaining the life. Alright, well, we plus here, we send this in. We pass it back to the opponent, playing on Flashy and Hullbreaker Horror. And since they used 2 Infernal Grasps, they don't likely have an instant speed removal spell to interact with it. And even if they do, we have Make Disappear mana here, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, no, we don't. I take it back. But we have double Horror, so I'm fine if, they maybe pop one of them. Alright, Trespasser for our opponent. We'll let that resolve. There's no creatures in our graveyard, so they can't gain any life off this. The only creature in the graveyard is Shouldred, Sleeper, and Underdog, so they have to hit their own graveyard. It's actually a legitimate tactic to do that. But they also might want to eat our graveyard, worried about us using a Shigeki. I think for our turn, what we do is we use... the end of their turn. We use Bankbuster, draw a card. Use the treasure that comes from it and the other 6 lands to play the horror, because we have 8 here. Hey there, Ruscio, how are things going? Nice to see you're joining us tonight. So you decided to take advantage of that highlighting. Let's see, so it's our turn. We'll go for that crew. I mean, not the crew, but the draw. I mean, things are going well for the most part. The deck's been performing really well. Wasn't for a misplay against mono red, we would have potentially been able to still win that fight. But this deck, unfortunately, while it does a great job of winning games, it just does it at a very slow pace. It also doesn't help with how many people like the clockas on this. Alright. Here comes the horror. Okay, so let's see here. We'll just plus here. Since they put us go to our turn, we can actually crew and then be able to sacrifice this to make disappear to tax any spell.
Show them how we greet our enemies.
And then we can flash in the Wandering Emperor after blocks are declared to get that 9th point of damage. I don't go with the idea of using March to get rid of the Trespasser, because if they have a 2 spot removal cards in hand, holding up the Make Disappear and March lets us play around them a little easier, because we have the Horror. Go ahead and give him the cheers, because we have the win here. Okay, so they finally said that they're just going to take it, as they wanted to use the clock as much as possible. Let's see. Since this opponent is the underdog sleeper deck, do I want to try using temporary lockdown? I don't think so. Because most of their threats are really... Actually, no, it actually does hit up all the tokens that Sorn makes also, so we can give this a try in the deck. I'm not sure how much of a payoff it's actually going to generate us, but it doesn't hurt to try it. Let's go with some Dissipates. Opponents on the play, so we'll actually go down a Horror, go down 1 Skyturtle, and Runic Shots we'll take out. And we'll go with that. Well, hey, sometimes you get those loss streaks and it takes you down, but at least you don't get, dropped out of Platinum. Oh! Well, there we go. We managed to win it. We scared our opponent out of the game, so we only had to play a best of 1 there. So, this Degenerate Shigeki deck is really good at being able to secure wins. The only problem is it takes a long time to secure those wins. we were playing this in the best of 3, and one of our opponents at the end there, you gotta see, just straight up rage quit after the first match. But we played against sort of a mirror-like deck where they were more Planeswalker focused and didn't do Shigeki loops, but they were Bant control, and that game took a long time to resolve. But it fought off against that really well. Against Mono Red in the best of 3, there's a little concern about playing against Mono Red because of all the burn that they have, and we don't have a whole lot of life gain to help bring us back up. And the other issue is I made a complete misplay. I don't know why. When it comes to March of Otherworldly Light, I keep thinking that this card allows me to exile Planeswalkers, even though it's Artifact, Creature, Enchantment. And that's the only thing it doesn't do, and that's one of the reasons why I have Fateful Absence in it, and I made a mistake where I didn't bring back the Fateful Absence. And it allowed them to ultimate a Chandra, and that definitely was the end of that match. If I managed to play that properly, I think we could have still won that best of 3 series, considering that was game 3 that we were in. But overall, I think this deck is very solid and will get you wins. But be prepared to play long games.
Thank you for watching the video. Please leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe for more content. If you'd like to join me live stream, you can find me on Twitch in the link below. I hope to see you again in the next video and have a nice one.